I'd like to thank Laurel Hawks and her son Bryce for allowing their home to be used today for the press conference that we're going to be talking about. And what we're talking about today is the growing water issue in northeast Fresno, and that could possibly be expanding to northwest Fresno. And I think what the first premise that I want to start with is that the number one job of an elected public official is to ensure the safety and health of his community. And I believe that that level of certainty rises when you're talking about the health and safety of our children. And I believe the issue that we have before us today is one that is growing, one that we do not have all of the answers to, but certainly one that requires a lot more action than what is occurring today. Now, we know that the surface water treatment plant in this area services approximately 15,000 homes and 13 schools. We also know that as of early June, there have been approximately 136 homes tested in this area, with about 34 to 35 of those homes testing positive for above the levels of allowed lead content. And that should be a concern for this entire community. That's why we're here. We know that the testing is ongoing, and I would like to first also compliment Tommy Escueda, the Director of the Division of Public Utilities. I think if Mr. Escueda would have been here 10 years ago, we probably wouldn't be having this press conference today, because I believe he is doing all the things that he should be doing from a professional standpoint to ensure that the testing of the water is occurring on a daily basis as people are coming forward. And he has a new batch of testing that just came in Friday that results will be released probably this week. But as we stand here, and I go back to the premise of public health and safety, I can tell you in the last 2 to 3 months, walking and knocking on doors and talking to the people that live in Northeast, they really want the answers to two questions. And the first question is my water safe? And the second question is, if I am affected, what are you going to do, city, to help me? We are asking that instead of it being a process of people looking on a city website or making a phone call to have their water tested, that the city immediately notify all 15,000 homes and all 13 schools in the service area of a potential issue that may be occurring in their water supply, and that they provide all of the residents the opportunity to have their water tested. We are also asking that all schools and the 6 that have been tested already, and there were, I believe, 3 that did have lead in their water, but they were below the actionable level. But I know there are families that have shared concerns that and show some studies where they're saying 0 should be the actionable level. So I think we need, during the summertime, take the opportunity to notify people that we're going to be testing the schools, and that during the summer months there's not a lot of activity, so we have the perfect time to make sure that all schools are tested and are safe. I think the main thing that we have to underscore here is that everybody is doing everything that they can possibly do to remedy this problem, because nobody wants to be in a situation of not being able to look their residents in the eye and say your water supply is not safe, it's not reliable. So I think the sooner we get to immediate notification of all residents in the area, I think the faster we will open up the lines of communication and get the true facts out to people and provide them relief. So now when we get to relief, the second question that people are asking, what are you going to do to help me? And that is probably the toughest question to answer at this point, but I happen to believe that the city may not have a legal responsibility. We don't know what that answer is yet. But I certainly believe that the city has a moral obligation to help the residents of its community. So what I am proposing is that the city immediately engage a cross-section of residents from Northeast Fresno into an immediate working group with city staff to start laying out what those possible solutions might be to provide them financial relief, or to secure the types of builders that come in and can replace water systems if necessary. And if we can guarantee them a higher number of residents to help, it will lower the cost. So I think the whole key is when we know that it's costing $10,000 to $15,000 to replace the water system, if we can create critical mass and have contractors come in to do that type of work, you start lowering the cost. Then we start looking at the possibility of low interest loans and or grants to provide relief to the residents. So I'm not going to put numbers on anything, because I think that's a dangerous thing to do right now, because just to throw a number out, knowing that your problem may be 200 homes or maybe 2,000 homes, I think the discussion has to be broader, but I think it's time to engage the residents in formal discussions with the city of Fresno on how we deal with this issue on a go-forward basis.
I have a question for you. The issue goes back 10 years. Why is it being brought up now?
Well, it has been an issue for 10 years, yes, maybe a little bit longer. And I believe, like a lot of different things, my sense is that people were experiencing discolored water for a period of time. They were learning, quote, to live with it. I think you can find many residences who did call the city of Fresno 10 years ago or so and said, I have a problem. And I think the ball may have been dropped in not giving it the type of attention that it's being given now. Because I think then, having maybe changed the water configuration or the treatment of the water may have lessened the corrosion of pipes that people are experiencing now. So not handling it, I think, in a proactive basis 10 years ago by just simply, in some cases, providing families bottled water, which, I don't think that was the answer. But, we are where we are today. I can't change the past, but I can certainly change the future.
Um, my name is Laurel Hager, formerly Laurel Hawks, and I bought this house in 2000. I had it built. It was supposed to be my dream home. I raised my son Bryce here. And about 10 years ago, I started noticing that my water would just randomly start running brown, dark brown, sometimes orange, sometimes yellow. Um, Sometimes it was in faucets that weren't used very often, and then other weeks would go by and it was almost every faucet. In fact, a lot of people in the neighborhood were having the exact same problem, brown water randomly. And in talking to the neighbors, it was kind of hit and miss. One house, they wouldn't notice any problems, and then the next house would say, yeah, it's every single faucet running orange or yellow or brown. You could run the water for a while and it would get more clear. But even then, sometimes if you would put the stopper in the bathtub and it looked like it was going clear, you'd come back and look at the bathtub and be full of like yellow tinted water. And I did test at 3 times the allowable level of lead in my water. And the kitchen sink, which I thought was the only fixture in my house that had always run clear, no discoloration in the kitchen sink. It also had lead coming out of it. So we were told to just flush the water every time for a couple minutes before we drank or bathed or cooked in it. We were told to probably not cook in it, to use my refrigerator filtered water to cook noodles or food. I haven't been giving the dogs any of my water. Everything we do is from the refrigerator filter, which luckily that is keeping the lead out of the refrigerator water. But it's frustrating because it's a little stream of water coming out and I'm filling a big pot with it. So that's kind of where we're at now, but it wasn't until the neighborhood app where truly people started communicating and I realized how big of an issue this was. A lot of my neighbors, not nearby but in the area, are completely repiping their house, and it's costing anywhere between $10,000 and $30,000, and I don't have that kind of money, and I don't feel like that is money that I should have to come up with. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's the pipes or I don't know what happened, but I hope they find out what happened and give us an easy fix, because I feel like I'm living in a third world country. So I think that more people need to get involved in the testing and see what really happened, and then how can we fix it. With this being a huge water issue, there should be more people involved.